I promised myself I was gonna wait a while before my next Breaking Bad Universe video, but you know what? Screw it, a year's long enough. I've had this idea in the back of my mind for the past couple months, and now that I got some time on my hands, I'm gonna use it to rank every montage in the Breaking Bad universe. For those of you that somehow don't know, a montage is a scene with a bunch of clips typically set to music to convey a passage of time. And as any fan of Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul will tell you, this franchise has mastered this technique to a T. Some of the series' most iconic moments originate from these montages, and I want to rank every single one of them to see which are the best and which are the worst, in my opinion. Some of you might be asking, okay, that's cool and all, but what really qualifies as a montage? What, are you gonna watch the entire series and decide what counts for yourself? Well, luckily, I don't have to do that. The wonderful people over at the Breaking Bad Universe Wiki have already compiled 2 separate lists of every montage in the show, so I'm going to be going off of these 2 lists and ranking each of the montages. I cut out a few of these entries since I don't really consider them to be montages. There are also some entries on this list that aren't like true montages, but I determined they're worth using the scientifically proven power of vibes and decided to chuck them in the list anyways. Some episodes also have multiple montages, so to compensate for this, I've added a number at the end of certain entries to specify the order that it appears in its respective episode. For example, Something Stupid actually has 2 montages, but when talking about the montage that you're all thinking of, I'll be calling it Something Stupid number 1, since it's the first montage in the episode to appear. We'll be judging the montages based on certain criteria, like the context of the montage, how well it works within the episode, the music choice, the shot composition, the storytelling, and most importantly, if the montage is just good. I'm also going to be switching up the format a bit. Instead of going in chronological order, I'm going to be starting out with my least favorite montages and working my way up to my personal favorites, starting with the D tiers and making it to the double S tiers. Oh, and of course, before I start, there will be spoilers for both shows ahead, though I assume most of you watched them already. Anyways, let's begin. And the worst montage in the Breaking Bad universe is... Grilled. Yeah, I can't even lie, I forgot this episode had a montage too. For those of you that need a refresher on what the montage is, which I'm guessing is most of you, it's the scene where Skylar and Marie put up missing posters as a result of Walt's sudden disappearance. It's not a bad scene per se, but as a montage it completely falls flat. It mostly serves to progress the plot rather than dazzle and flex its storytelling abilities. The only good quality of this montage is that it actually pays off in a major way in the Bit by a Dead Bee montage next episode, with the powerful shot of Walt looking at his own missing poster as he tries his best to sneak back to the hospital. Other than that, a very boring montage, which is why it's down at the bottom. Number 70, Say My Name number 1. Mike's lawyer, Dan Waxberger, puts Mike's money for Kaylee in a safety deposit box. Really not much to say about this one, it's very short and just alright. I like the shot where the camera follows Dan's hand as he unlocks the boxes. The song for this one is also pretty good. Number 69, Carrot and Stick. Mike and his guys enter Nacho's house to look around the place for any important belongings, as well as replace the safe located inside. It's not a particularly crazy or memorable montage, and it drags a bit too long in my opinion. I like the little detail that Mike keeps Nacho's father's fake ID so that he doesn't get implicated in the ruse. See kids, even if you kill people, you can still be a good person. Number 68, Hit and Run. We watch this random couple bike around the place before entering their house, which is secretly occupied by Gus and his men. Fun fact, the actors riding their bikes through the neighborhood also happen to be married in real life. Aw, not much to say about this montage, it's alright. Number 67, Gray Matter. We see a bit of an evolution of Jesse's character from the montage in the pilot. Jesse was initially the goofball who messed around while Walt did most of the heavy lifting, while Badger acts as the goofball this time around while Jesse does most of the heavy lifting. The montage itself is kind of boring, though I really like the time-lapse at the end with the sun setting as the lights continue to stay on in the RV. Number 66, Mabel number 1. Yes, the first of many Gene scenes. The Gene montage that kicks off season 3 of Better Call Saul unfortunately takes the bottom spot of the Gene scenes. 80% of this montage is Gene completing his daily tasks at supersonic speed. Not really much to talk about with this one of the least interesting Gene scene montages. Number 65, Black and Blue. Jesus, season 6 of Better Call Saul's dropping the ball a bit. This is that one strange cold open where we watch a ruler being placed in resin in the lab in Germany, created as a gift for Werner for his leadership courtesy of his boys. There's a couple of cool shots in this montage, but overall it's an alright scene. Number 64, Smoke number 1. Gene dies. Not really, the fall happened in season 3, but this scene deals with the aftermath of Gene's nasty fall as he's taken to the hospital by paramedics. You can really feel the paranoia going through Gene's head as he worries over whether or not someone will find his true identity. Not really much else to comment on, it's kind of boring. Another one of those montages that only really serves to move the plot forward. Number 63, Moss. The montage itself is pretty good, but the scene that is placed in and the context around it is way more interesting. This is the scene where we find out what Jesse actually did with the money Walt instructed him to purchase an RV with in the pilot. And the montage reveals that a large chunk of it went towards a plethora of boobies. The montage is basically just Jesse and the guys dicking around with some naked ladies. I can barely show any of the footage here. Oops. This montage is also the origin of that one photo with Combo and Jesse that Hank later finds in Combo's room. Other than that, not much to write home about this one. Number 62, Say My Name number 2. The second montage in this episode unfortunately doesn't fare much better than the first. Walt and Todd do their first meth cooking session together after Jesse decided to call it quits. Of the 2 montages in this show that feature Walt and Todd cooking together, this one is not the best, and by a significantly wide margin. The way this montage gets absolutely fucking dwarfed in quality by the one in gliding overall is embarrassing. Overall, the montage is just alright. I would have given this a low D tier, but the appearance of the ShamWow guy gives it a slight boost in the rankings. Wow, Say My Name really flopped in the rankings this time around. No hype moments in aura for you guys. Number 61, Magic Man number 1. For the first time in the series, the Gene scene doesn't open up with a montage. Gene resumes work at Cinnabon, though significantly more paranoid after the incident from the last Gene scene. Not a lot to say about this one, it's very short and just okay. The song Welcome to My World was a really good choice for this one. Anyways, out of the D tiers and onto the C tiers. Number 60, Dedicado on Max. Finally, time for everybody's favorite kind of montage. Mike taking apart shit for an hour. Unfortunately, this one is nowhere near as good as the one of him taking apart his car, though it's cool to watch Mike flex the fact that he's one of the best characters in the show. We watch Mike try to create a cell phone charger down at Gus's funhouse ranch before the lady taking care of him just hands him a charger.
Gracias.
I don't know why, but that moment is so funny to me. It's an okay montage. We'll be seeing a much better rendition of this kind of scene later down the line. Number 59, Axe and Grind. Glad they were able to squeeze in a Howard-centric montage before he got shot and died. Howard goes about his daily routine in his ginormous mansion while also dealing with his failing marriage. He tries making a cup of coffee for Cheryl, but she tells Howard to kill himself and ruins the integrity of the coffee by carelessly dumping it into her thermos. That's gotta suck, but hey, at least his coffee machine is nice. I would love that coffee maker Howard has. And this was in the early 2000s too. This had to have been top of the line. $5,000 at least, not even adjusting for inflation. Pretty short, but I like Howard, so that makes it a good montage by default. Number 58, Smoke number 2. A pretty good montage sandwiched inside an alright episode of the show. Mike does some secret security work in a Madrigal warehouse to prove that things around the place are really fucked up and not well put together. Pretty short, but pretty good. Damn, another episode that really dropped the ball in terms of montages. Number 57, Switch. Okay, I swear, I really like the Gene scenes. The montages just happen to not be as good when comparing them to the others. This scene serves as another reminder to the audience that Gene's life sucks dick as he closes down shop for the day. The title of the song is pretty on the nose, especially given Gene's established want to slip back to his Slippin' Jimmy days. Another short but good scene. I'm starting to sense a pattern. Number 56, ABQ. The montage that comes right after Walt's stupid ass accidentally reveals that he has a second cell phone to Skylar.
Your cell phone, did you bring it?
Which one?
Fucking idiot. Sadly, that's pretty much the only memorable part of this scene, because the actual montage itself is just alright. We get a ton of close-ups of Walt's nipples and, yeah, that's about it. The music choice is actually pretty great, but the contents of the montage are kind of whatever. Just Walt getting surgery. Number 55, Sunset number 1. Walt gets ready for the day and makes lunch for Junior, where he cuts the crust off of the PB&J sandwich. A callback to Crazy 8 asking Walt to cut the crust off his sandwich. I mentioned the theory back in my Breaking Bad tier list where Walt copies a trait from each person he kills, and we get to see that in action here. Other than that interesting connection, this montage isn't terribly interesting. The song choice is really fun though. Number 54, 38 Snub. Oh yeah, Jesse Party montage. The editing for this one is really fun and crazy to watch. And the montage does a great job of portraying Jesse's worsening mental decline and how he's trying to drown out his sorrows with the power of music, friends, dancing, and also drugs. Drugs are important. It gives us a brief but very important glimpse into Jesse's numbing sadness. The guy's acting like he was forced to kill someone. Haha, what a baby. Pretty fun, but also very short. Number 53, Madrigal. It's the scene where Walt and Jesse try to find the rice and cigarette. The editing is pretty fun, and, yeah, not really much else to talk about with this one. Number 52, Sunk Cost number 1. Jimmy gets his ass taken to jail after angrily breaking into Chuck's house the previous episode. The song for this montage is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here, as the majority of the scene is just Jimmy getting booked into jail without any crazy editing or time skips or what have you. It's short but sweet. Number 51, Pilot. the montage to start them all. Not only is this the series' first montage, but it's also the first of many cooking montages. The whole thing is edited like a music video from the early 2000s, and the music choice solidifies this vibe excellently. I like how the montage puts the red phosphorus on screen for a brief moment. It's a nice detail on rewatch because you know what's gonna happen. Overall, not a bad start. Number 50, shotgun. Alright, now we're starting to tread into some familiar territory. Mike drives around the place with Jesse to find dead drops, while Jesse gets progressively more bored. The music choice for this scene is awesome, and I love this shot where the camera slowly zooms out while we watch the time-lapse of Jesse waiting for Mike while he picks at his ass. Pretty memorable montage, but nothing too crazy. Oh my, would you look at the time. It's B-tier time. Number 49, Sunset Number 2. The second Sunset montage involves Walt and Gale cooking with each other for the first time, after Walt tries some of Gale's signature coffee. It's a strangely relaxing montage given the fact that they're cooking methamphetamine. The fun piano music combined with Gale and Walt's pleasant attitudes toward each other is really nice to watch, though it becomes a lot less nice when you remember that Walt later orders a 360 no-scope on Gale's head courtesy of Jesse. We also get the iconic shot of Walt being all scientific and dipping liquids in the beakers and stuff. Number 48. Miho Number 1. Jimmy tries to go on a hot date to distract him from the horrors he witnessed in the desert, but that doesn't really work as the sound of people cracking breadsticks reminds him of some other things he watched get cracked. I love the fact that we don't get to hear the conversation Jimmy and this lady have. It really helps put us into Jimmy's head as the nasty, icky thoughts start overtaking his mind. I also love how the music becomes more distorted in the background to help portray Jimmy's growing sense of uneasiness. Number 47, Something Stupid Number 2. Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, the aforementioned other montage in Something Stupid. The music choice in this one is so goofy and memorable. The guy singing about goody gumdrop mountains and sugar waterfalls while Werner's guys go build a meth lab. It reminds me of that one scene from Moss when Gus shows Walt the meth lab and that other goofy magical song plays. It's a decent montage that gets absolutely and completely overshadowed by the one that precedes it. Number 46, JMM. Gus and Nacho intentionally destroy one of the Los Pollos Hermanos restaurants to throw Lalo off their trail. It's pretty fun watching Nacho absolutely destroy the place while Gus calmly places a chicken by the deep fryer. I'm jealous of Michael Mando, that must have been fun. Okay, maybe not that jealous. Number 45. Breakage. Just a simple scene of Jesse and the meth boys selling meth around Albuquerque. The music choice for this scene is really fun, and I love the little moment of Gonzo literally getting on his hands and knees for these hot girls to buy meth from him. The shots for this montage are also really cool. The way the show utilizes colors so that none of the locations blend in with each other is really unique. The meth selling misadventures all go well until the crackhead couple tricks Skinny Pete into getting robbed. Okay, I don't want to slap something as much, but I'm still not happy. Number 44, Buried. I don't know if you'd call this the titular montage of the episode, but nevertheless, it's the scene where Walt goes into the middle of the desert to bury his moolah. It's a pretty good scene, and I especially love this shot, where we're literally placed onto the barrel and rolled into the ground. I also love the little transition in the end, where Walt destroys the GPS with a rock, and then cuts to him putting the coordinates on the fridge with a magnet. Number 43. Namaste. Jimmy walks around a shop to try and find the perfect item to fuck up Howard's car with. It's a pretty fun scene, and I especially like the moment when Saul moves a golf club around and knocks a bunch of shit over. Other than that, nothing too crazy. Number 42. Talk. One of the rare instances where the show presents us with a young Mike Ehrmantraut, as he pours concrete while his son Maddie watches. This is another one of those instances where the music of the montage absolutely carries the sequence. The hard cut to Mike in the group therapy session makes for a good semi-cliffhanger for what happens later in the episode. And the flashback does a good job at hinting to the audience Mike's motivations for the verbal assault he gives to stupid Henry. Overall, a good montage. Number 41. Slip Number 1. Better Call Saul wastes absolutely no opportunity to flex its top-notch cinematography, as we get one of my personal favorite shots of the whole show, that being this moment when Mike spends hours trying to locate the body of the Good Samaritan who was killed by Hector. It's a very short scene, but very memorable. Number 40. Bagman. A classic trekking through unknown territory montage. Saul and Mike trek through the desert alongside Saul's trusty piss bottle. I love the song playing in the background. As I mentioned in my video, this song was sampled by Eminem for My Name Is, which I think is pretty interesting. There's a lot of really beautiful shots of the desert throughout this montage, a major contributing factor to Bagman being a fantastic episode of the show. Looking at Jimmy's chapped lips is so painful. Getting your lips to that point where the skin starts cracking off fucking sucks. Like, you know that the skin is gonna grow back eventually, but it takes a really long time until that point. And the entire time, you gotta deal with that pain while also trying not to lick your lips. Props to the makeup artist for capturing that excruciating pain. Anyways, Bagman's montage is pretty good, which is why it takes the top spot for B tier. Ah, it's time for the A tiers. Number 39. The guy for this. Easily one of the creepiest montages in the entire show. Weird yodeling music plays in the background as a colony of ants surround the ice cream Saul dropped at the end of the previous episode, representing the corruption of Saul's character as he's taken into the world of the cartel. The sound design of this montage makes my skin crawl. You can hear literally every tiny step that the ants take. This montage is getting an A tier for ants. Number 38. Quite a ride. Jimmy goes about expanding his drop phone business as he sells them to people all over Albuquerque. It's a very fun sequence, and those hot dogs made me really hungry. You can smell them through your screen. Plus, they're selling for that early 2000s price, so you know you're getting a good deal. No need to pay $15 fucking anymore. I love this moment where we see Jimmy opening his trunk several times for a cast of increasingly shady looking characters, maintaining the same low angle for each one. It's a pretty good scene. Number 37. 51. To anyone out there who believes that Rian Johnson ruined Star Wars, just watch this scene and you will instantly forgive any and all of his wrongdoings. This montage is so comedically dated and out of place for Breaking Bad, but I don't care, it's still funny. This scene is way too short for its own good, should have been around like 45 minutes or so. I'd give it an S tier, but the song for this montage kept getting my Breaking Bad video claimed when I was first making it, so it's going in the A tier. Comedy fucking gold. Number 36. Uno. The first of all the season introductory Gene scene montages is the one with the highest ranking on this list. We're taken to a day in the life of Gene Takovec, as he works at Cinnabon while attempting to maintain a low profile due to his former Saul Goodman persona. With this being the very first scene of the entire show, the montage had to portray the absolute hellhole of depression that is Gene's life, and I believe it did so very well. The black and white colors of the scene really highlight how shitty Gene's life has gotten, and I love the little moment where Gene thinks he's gonna get outed, only for the guy staring at him to walk past him. He can't even live a normal life without the constant worry that someone's gonna be like, dude, it's Better Call Saul! Better Call Saul! It's a simple scene, but it gets the job done. The song in the background is also very nice to listen to. Number 35. El Camino. Didn't think I'd forget about the one in El Camino now, did you? We watch as Jesse searches through Todd's apartment to try and find the money hidden inside. The montage is super chaotic and intense as Jesse spends all day trying to find Todd's secret money hidey hole. The most memorable part of the montage has got to be the massive overhead shot of Jesse searching around like a lab rat. It's awesome and very impressive, especially when watching in high quality. A pretty short but ultimately very good scene. Number 34. 50% off. Easily one of the funniest montages in the entire show.
50% off.
Dude, that's almost half.
Saul offers his 50% off discount to the people at his drop phone palace. And we watch these two idiots go on an insane crime spree while occasionally yelling, 50% off! Like that somehow negates all of their crimes like it's the Purge. I love the hard cut at the end where the two guys crashed onto somebody's lawn, only for them to immediately go fool around back to their crime spree. Number 33. Fall. The title of this episode lines up pretty well with Jimmy's character this episode, as we watch Jimmy at his absolute lowest as he slanders the reputation of poor Irene to make it look like she's a selfish asshole who won't settle. That moment when Irene is trying to call out to her friends only for them to ignore her is just heartbreaking. She's an old lady, these are some of the last friends she'll ever have, and now they gotta be taken away so Jimmy can get a quick payday? What a fat fucking cuck. This montage is good, but it pisses me off. If only there was someone who could express those feelings for me.
Fuck you, Jimmy.
Thank you, Howard. Now go back in the ground, you're dead. Thank you. Solid montage, but it makes me angry. Number 32. Slip number 2. This is the scene where we watch Nacho practice swapping Hector's normal pills with capsules of crushed up ibuprofen so that his heart can go Super Saiyan and kill him. This montage is really good. It helps build up tension for the scene later in the episode when Nacho actually tries to swap the pills, as Nacho struggles a ton in this montage while trying to get the pills in the coat. I also really like the song that they chose for this scene. Number 31. Nacho. From one Nacho montage to another Nacho montage, kind of. Jimmy walks around in the middle of nowhere to try and find the stupid Kettlemans. I actually vividly remember watching this scene for the first time and thinking, wow, this show is gonna be very different. I kind of went in expecting a similar experience to Breaking Bad, but for whatever reason, this montage was the scene that tipped me off that this show was gonna be going in a completely unique direction. I think it's because the show takes more time to show Jimmy wandering around the place, whereas Breaking Bad would have shown like 20 seconds of this before cutting to Jimmy finding the Kettlemans. Personal anecdotes aside, this is a very fun montage. I love the big zoom out shot of Jimmy walking out of the backyard and out into the wild. And I also like how the song matches Jimmy trying to find out what's happening. It's a good scene, and the cinematography is really good, which is basically the status quo of Better Call Saul. Number 30. Mabel number 2. If you're not willing to watch Mike do nothing but disassemble his car for the better part of 3 minutes, are you even a real Better Call Saul fan? Mike knows that he's being bugged and tracked by someone, but he doesn't quite know where or how. And this montage is 3 straight minutes of him snooping around and taking apart his car to find it. That's literally all this montage is. It's awesome. I don't care what you think. This scene is great and deserves its relatively high ranking on this list. Number 29, Face Off. I almost cut this out of the list since I wouldn't personally call it a true montage, but then I was like, it's Face Off. It's got that good episode privilege. A classic scene from a classic episode. If this was the last montage the show made, I'd be perfectly satisfied, but luckily it wasn't. There's something so fun and cathartic about watching Walt and Jesse burn the lab and the laundromat to the ground, and the song in the background adds to that exciting, freeing feeling. Did you know that it was created by 2 brothers at the age of 13 and 15? Holy shit! When I was that age, I couldn't even read. The song is honestly doing a chunk of the heavy lifting here, and the shot where the whole lab just erupts into a huge ball of fire is awesome. Instantly iconic scene. Number 28, Buyout. Okay, so I watched all of these montages in order, and I gotta say, going from the funny montage in 51 to the absolute horrors of the montage in Buyout gave me severe whiplash. This is the scene where Walt and the meth squad destroy the evidence of Drew Sharp's murder after Todd decided that Drew's shirt was really ugly. Dave Porter's score in this scene really captures the incredibly sad atmosphere of the situation, as Todd, Walt, and Mike disassemble the bike, as well as Drew Sharp himself. The moment where they dig through the dirt to find Drew Sharp's hand sticking through sticks out like a sore thumb in my mind. The show never really feels the same after this montage, in a good way, because it was a bad thing that happened in the montage, but it makes the show feel bad in a good way because of how good the montage was at portraying this bad thing. Okay, in short, the good bad thing made the good thing bad good. Or good bad. Number 27, Kushada. Kim and Jimmy pull off arguably one of their best scams as Jimmy takes a bus to Huel's hometown, Louisiana, and writes letters on the bus pretending to be people who are outraged over Huel being taken to jail, eventually asking others on the bus to do the same thing. The music choice for this scene is amazing, so good in fact, that it was used in that one scene in Severance earlier this year. I'm not implying that Severance was 100% inspired by this episode or anything, but what I am saying is that Better Call Saul got fucking ripped off. There are some pretty funny moments too, like when Jimmy tells this guy that he's got horrible diarrhea poopy shit so he doesn't sit next to him. It's a solid montage and a great opener to the episode. Number 26, Magic Man number 2. The out of nowhere increase in quality between this montage and the previous one in this episode is hilarious. This montage feels almost like an upgrade to the one in Quite a Ride, where Jimmy really settles into his Saul Goodman persona while selling drop phones and his lawyer services to unique looking characters on the street. Bob Odenkirk is so fucking good as this character. Or characters, rather. I love the little moment where Saul inflates the number of years that Huel is facing in prison from 3 to 25 as he talks to other customers. Amazing scene. Number 25, Fifi. Arguably one of the most important montages in the entire show, as it's the scene where Jimmy switches the address on Chuck's files from 1261 to 1216. It's such an interesting and creative way to fuck someone over, and the way the episode shows us every little detail to the process is weirdly very satisfying to watch. A lot of thought and effort was put into creating this scene, and it does not go unnoticed. Bravo, Vince. Number 24, Negro y Azul. I mean, what the fuck? It's the first montage in the Breaking Bad universe that also serves as the episode's cold open. And the whole thing is edited like a legitimate music video, so the editing is really crazy and unique. The contents of the song, roughly translated in English, talk about how the cartel is starting to catch wind of the mysterious Heisenberg's product and how they are not happy about it, how Heisenberg's product is starting to cross the border and that people from far away want to taste, and that Heisenberg is already dead, though he doesn't know it yet. Which turns out to be a pretty correct assumption, though not for the reasons the song presumes. It's interesting that the showrunners decided that this specific part of the story was the perfect time to insert a song about the story of Heisenberg, given the fact that Walt's journey hasn't truly kicked off yet. The montage also subtly introduces us to Tortuga, who later gets his head sliced off for ratting to the DEA.
Welcome to
They also reused some footage from the pilot episode, which I thought was interesting. One of the most memorable and out of left field moments in the show. Also, the song itself is pretty good. Number 23, Sunset number 3. Holy shit, this episode is 3 montages? Walt and Jesse watch the classic RV get destroyed after successfully baiting Hank with the fake emergency call. I love this montage so much. It's such a uniquely somber scene, given how iconic the RV is to the Breaking Bad franchise, along with how much Walt and Jesse have grown as characters through their meth misadventures, with the majority of them taking place in that very RV. The background music leads into Gus driving out in the fields to meet with the Salamanca twins, which ends the montage. It's a pretty short but extremely memorable scene. Number 22, Rebecca. One of the first true Kim-centric moments of the show. This is the scene where Kim tries to find a new client to work for after getting shafted to doc review by HHM, eventually managing to team up with Mesa Verde. I mentioned this in my season 2 video, but the song choice, a Spanish cover of the song My Way by Frank Sinatra, perfectly lines up with the point of the scene, that Kim is doing things her way like she told Jimmy earlier in doc review.
You don't save me. I save me.
It's a great and entertaining scene, with Kim walking from one part of the HHM building to another talking with potential clients. There were a lot of really nice shots throughout this montage as well. Number 21. I See You. Peak Breaking Bad comedy. Walt and the family sit around in the hospital hoping that Hank isn't dead, while Jesse dicks around in the laundromat and plays around with the equipment. An incredibly memorable and iconic montage. The moment where Jesse fills up his suit with air will be studied and analyzed hundreds of years in the future like Shakespeare's body of work. Number 20. Bit by a Dead Bee. This is, in my humble opinion, a grossly underrated Breaking Bad scene, and one of the show's first great montages. Walt takes a bus back to the hospital after sneaking out to hide the big pile of money from his family. The music choice in this montage is excellent. Waiting Around to Die feels like a pretty on-the-nose title, especially given the speech Walt gave to the doctor earlier in the episode about how shitty his life is. I mentioned how great this montage was in my video covering the show, and I still stand by this opinion. The melancholy music does a great job putting us into Walt's headspace as he reflects on his decisions and how they affect the people around him while also trying to sneak his way back to his room. Walt looking at the painting of the family waving goodbye to the father was another great moment that ties back into this montage's themes of family and choices. And it also appears 3 seasons later when Walt makes a deal with Todd's uncle to kill Mike's guys in prison.
Where do you suppose these come from? I've seen this one before.
It's sad how the meaning of the painting has now been completely lost on Walt, reduced to only being a painting that he saw once. He really did do it for himself. Anyways, fantastic scene. Alright, we're done with the A tiers. It's finally time to start talking about the really good stuff. Number 19. Breaking Bad. It only makes sense that the last montage in this franchise happens to be in the episode named Breaking Bad. We watch one of the crueler Gene schemes unfold, maybe even worse than the one Jimmy pulled with Irene, but not by much. Gene meets with random people at the bar and gets them drunk as hell while pretending to get drunk himself. Afterwards, he has Jeff drive a taxi over to their house and gives them water laced with a sedative that puts the victim to sleep, helping them into their house while placing duct tape on the door to keep it from fully closing. Then has Jeff's buddy break into their house and steal sensitive personal information, which is passed along to identity thieves in exchange for cold hard cash and whiskey. This scheme is a lot less fun to watch than the one in Nippy, but it's still a very quality montage. It feels deliberately more spiteful as Gene becomes more of an asshole and gives less of a fuck while reliving the glory days. I love the music choice for this one, and I mentioned this in my season 6 video, but I love the little touch of Thomas Schnoz, a writer on the Breaking Bad team, and the writer for this episode, being one of the victims of this scam, though under the name Carl Haven. I also love the shot of Gene staring at strippers, where I assume is the Bing, followed by the still shot of him sleeping in bed with multiple women. Not in like a weird way, I just think the cinematography is good. Number 18. Bad Choice Road. An absolutely fantastic reprise of the original Something Stupid montage, with the singers humming the lyrics rather than singing them. We watch Saul continue to trek his way through the desert with Mike, while Kim anxiously waits for his arrival, fearing the worst. We see an almost reversal of the original Something Stupid montage, as both characters become closer with each other rather than distant, which can be seen with this little moment as Kim washes her face in the sink, while Saul cleans his eyes with what I can only assume is piss. And then Kim drinks water while Saul literally drinks piss. Not technically part of the montage, but Saul finally getting a hold of Kim as Saul literally falls to his knees is really beautiful. This one's getting a nice S tier. Call it a legacy hire all you want, but it still contains important thematic elements, damn it. Number 17. Sunk cost number 2. Only Better Call Saul can make some random scene where a character gets ready for the day energetic and exciting to watch. The music choice for this scene is so unbelievably fucking good, and I love all the random zoom-ins throughout the montage's duration. It's very random and completely out of nowhere, but as we, yes I mean we, all learned from 51's montage, sometimes random is a very, very good thing. Number 16. 4 Days Out. Another classic Breaking Bad sequence. Arguably the best of all the cooking montages, rivaled only by the one in gliding overall. The music choice in this one is fantastic. You can practically feel the chemistry between Walt and Jesse gets stronger as they find themselves having an easier and easier time cooking meth together. This montage also serves as essentially the only bit of positivity this episode has to offer, because after this is over, Walt and Jesse are fucked. I like the little moment where we get 2 separate shots of Walt and Jesse looking at each other while sleeping while they work in the dead of night. And I also love the shot of Jesse and Walt looking down through the glass, along with the shot of Walt secretly enjoying a bag of Funyuns while sitting with Jesse. Fun fact, the shot of Jesse and Walt pissing was a last-minute addition by the director of this episode, Michelle McLaren, since she apparently really wanted to do this shot, even though the producers told her there was no time. Bryan Cranston and Aaron Paul arrived at the crack of dawn before official filming for the episode began. Great montage. Number 15. Blood money. Whoopsie daisies, Walt is Heisenberg. This montage is so fucking awesome. It feels like a trip down memory lane, what with a boatload of references to previous episodes as Hank collects through and sorts all of the evidence he can to link Heisenberg's crimes to Walt. It's like watching someone put together a jigsaw puzzle that you've already finished in the past. The attention to detail throughout the whole thing is fantastic, and the music adds a ton of energy to the scene. Poor mule. Poor mule. I also love the shot at the end where Hank stares at the drawing of the elusive Heisenberg. Number 14. Lantern. Possibly one of the most unsettling montages in the entire franchise. We watch Chuck relapse back into a strong obsession with electricity, as he notices the power meter is still turning despite turning his lights off, and literally tears down his entire home in order to get rid of any semblance of electricity. Dave Porter's score for this scene helps add to that disturbing feeling so well, as it swells and grows more intense as Chuck drives himself insane. It's such a tragic scene because Chuck was so close to finally beating this mental disease that had been haunting him for so long. This scene is getting an S tier for sad. Number 13. Wine and Roses. What a way to open up a season. We watch as Saul Goodman's house is investigated and taken apart by the authorities. I love the way that the montage baits you into thinking it's another jeans scene with all the black and white before hitting you with a bunch of multicolored ties. There are so many beautiful shots throughout this montage, and I love all the little details hidden throughout Saul's extravagant mansion, like the time machine book, which shows up in Chuck's final scene of the show, the drop phones and the bouncy balls from CC Mobile, the Saul Goodman and Associates sign, and several others. Saul getting a cardboard cutout of himself placed in the garbage is excellent foreshadowing for Saul's inevitable fate. I don't think it needs to be said, but the song playing in the background throughout the scene is absolutely beautiful. This is also technically the titular montage of the episode, if we're counting background music at least. One of the most memorable montages slash cold opens of the whole show, and ending it with the Zaviro and Yeho cork really leaves you with a sense of, oh shit, a very obvious S tier. I'd be killed if I ranked this any lower. Number 12. Dedicato a Max number 2. This one is so unbelievably good. It's another classic Saul Goodman scheme, where he teams up with stupid-ass Mr. Acker to prevent his home from being destroyed to make way for Mesa Verde. They do this by pulling a variety of cons to push back the date of demolition, which get progressively funnier as the montage goes on. It's so fun going back and forth from Saul pulling the scam with Mr. Acker to Kim pretending to be outraged dealing with a mess over at Mesa Verde. And it's also really fun watching the main construction guy get increasingly angrier at Saul's schemes. By the way, as many people in the comments pointed out to me, this man is played by John DiMaggio, who happens to be a prolific cartoon voice actor, playing such roles as Jake the dog from Adventure Time. I did not know that. One of the funniest of the schemes has to be Saul spray painting a mural of Jesus on the side of Mr. Acker's house, and then having Mr. Acker call into a Christian radio program to report a miracle, causing busloads of old people to blockade the entire property. Where the fuck did they find those triplets? Oh, prime thumbnail material. Number 11. Miho number 2.
It's showtime, folks.
We watch Jimmy go about his daily routine as a public defender, which involves dealing with Bill. My diet consists of sour cream, potato chips, and coffee Oakley, and is petty with a prior routine. Sticker Dick Mike, and also 2 seconds of screen time with Kim. This is literally all of the screen time she has this entire episode, which is weird. I love the shot where we watch Jimmy walk in and out of the doors while talking with his clients. The editing here is fantastic and seamless. I absolutely love how busy and chaotic the whole thing is, and the song choice is also great as well. Alright, we are approaching top 10 territory here. All choices placed in this category are 100% valid and correct. Number 10. Marco. Anybody who dogs in this episode is forgetting about the absolute banger of a montage that it contains. One of the most fun and entertaining sequences in the episode, and maybe even the show. This is what that stupid Slippin' Jimmy series wishes it could be. It's 3 straight minutes of Jimmy and Marco reliving the glory days and pulling scams on unsuspecting customers. I love the wild and crazy editing, and I also love all the shots where Jimmy and Marco are just talking in the middle of a black void about their various scams. It's unique storytelling while also getting the message across. The message of this montage is that they're scamming people out of money. I also love the shades of blue and red that shine on Marco and Jimmy throughout as well. The colors in this montage go nuts, and I like it. Number 9. half measures. We watch Wendy go about her daily routine of sucking dick, smoking crack, and getting cash, the American dream, as she drinks her precious root beer. The music for this montage is perfect. The title of the song, Wendy, not only matches the name of the character, Wendy, kind of, but the happy-go-lucky nature of the tune also contrasts the pretty depressing life that Wendy leads. A very strong S tier for this one. Number 8, Inflatable. Jimmy hates his job at Kart and Coakley since he can't act like his normal self, but he doesn't want to quit since he'd be unable to receive his bonus. So naturally, he does what any reasonable person would do and does everything in his power to try and get himself fired, in the most Jimmy/Saul Goodman way possible. The concept for the montage is already pretty funny, but the execution is somehow even better, as Jimmy's ideas get progressively more stupid and outrageous, like admitting to not flushing the toilet after taking a Mega Mondo Dookie. It's really funny watching all of the professional and upstanding Kart and Coakley employees react all dumbfounded to Jimmy's insane antics. There's some really fun and creative editing, along with some of the show's most iconic shots, like the moment where Jimmy lays out all of his colorful suits for the camera. It's a shot that says so much with so little. The only problem with this montage is that it isn't 20 minutes longer. Number 7. Gliding overall number 2. This scene contains what is quite possibly the greatest transition into a montage in the whole franchise. Whoa, what the fuck are you doing? Are you cooking meth? Walt, are you listening? This montage is used to represent a 3-month-long gap in the show where Walt and Todd dick around and make meth together while using Lydia to export the meth and Skylar to launder the money. The way that the montage flows is really fun to watch, with some clever transitions along with some small character moments, like Walt and Skylar getting progressively more exhausted by the metric fuck ton of money that Walt's bringing in. Crystal Blue Persuasion is up there as one of the absolute best song choices Breaking Bad has ever used. The meth they make is blue! It's genius! One of my favorite parts of the montage is the long panning shot at the end, where we see all of the houses that Walt and Todd used to cook their meth in under the Vominos pest suit in them. Such an iconic montage. Number 6. Gliding overall number 1. Wow, this episode really is just gliding over all the other entries on this list. It's actually kind of crazy just how hard this episode swept the competition, at least in terms of the amount of quality montages. Did you know that the 2 montages in this episode happen 5 minutes between each other? Absolutely insane. Okay, anyways, time to talk about the actual scene itself. This montage has got to be one of the coolest moments of the whole show. The happy Nat King Cole song playing in the background as 10 of Mike's guys are murdered, including poor Dan Whataburger, the lawyer, in the span of only 2 minutes makes for such a perfect contrast, and I love how the show occasionally cuts back to Walt waltzing around in the dark, glancing at his watch. One of the rare moments in the show where Walt actually seems like a legitimate badass. At the risk of sounding creepy, I love how all of the guys are taken out in unique ways, including the poor dude who was burned alive. All you had to do was not stand in front of the door, you fucking idiot. Poor Hank, man. Now he's gotta deal with all this crap. Another very iconic montage. Number 5. Ozymandias. Of course, one of the best episodes of the show, also happens to have one of the best montages of the show. It was even referenced in the Popcorners commercial. This montage is so hollow and surreal to watch, especially considering everything in this episode that led up to this point. Walter White, who was once one of the most infamous meth kingpins in the entire country, has been reduced to this crusty old man wandering around through the desert, rolling what's left of his empire in a barrel, and Take My True Love by the Hand playing in the background adds even more of a melancholy feeling to it. It's interesting to think about what Walt's wondering to himself in this situation. Is he thinking about what he's going to say to Skylar and Jr.? Is he thinking about Hank? Is he thinking about Jesse? Actually, probably not Jesse. He told him he watched Jane die and went get fucked. One of my favorite details of this montage is when Walt walks by the pair of khakis that flew off the RV in the pilot episode. A true full circle / full barrel moment. There were so many great shots in this montage, especially the wide zoom out shots of Walt rolling his barrel through the desert, which I personally believe is meant to represent how small Walt's reign over the drug world has become, or yet to become, I should say. It's a pretty short montage, but it's a montage that sticks out in my mind every time I think about this show. Watching your brother-in-law get shot in front of you and then being forced to literally push what's left of your crumbled empire with you has gotta really fucking suck. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to discuss the best of the best. The greatest montages that this show has to offer, or at least what I believe has to offer. It's time to cover the double S tiers. Starting with number 4, Nippy. Nippy! An extremely fun montage that should immediately dissuade people from writing Nippy off as a bad episode. Gene pulls off an elaborate scheme with recasted Jeff, visiting the security guards once a night with free Cinnamons to distract them from the cameras, calculating the average amount of time it takes security guard Frank to eat it up in order to give Jeff an idea of how long he has to steal stuff from the store. It's such a clever and fun scheme to watch take place, and watching Gene look up and research certain games to talk with Frank about in order to lengthen their conversations is a very funny detail. The song choice for this montage is especially genius. Jim on the move. Get it? It's Jimmy on the move. He's moving! I love the shot where we see Gene look at the security cameras behind the security cameras as he talks with Frank about sports. They went all out with the editing in this montage. It's extremely exciting and energetic. I love this montage so much. It totally deserves this ranking. It gets better and better with every watch. Number 3, fun and games. The pinnacle of this show's visual storytelling. Saul and Kim try to go about their regular lives as Mike and his goons clean up the blood and bullets in their apartment. The transitions in this montage as we go back and forth between Kim and Saul working their jobs to the cleaning process are brutal yet creative. This scene perfectly continues the depressing and oh my god what have we done tone the ending of Point and Shoot had, as you can practically feel Saul and Kim trying their best to forget everything that happened the night before in their heads. The atmosphere of this montage is so depressing and drab, and that ending shot where Kim and Jimmy look at their now clean and tidy apartment sticks out in my mind so much. Jimmy walking over to his closet trying his best to repress his thoughts while Kim can't help but look at the apartment in horror is a great touch. Jimmy is an expert on keeping his mind off of painful subjects, but after something like watching a close colleague be murdered in front of you, Kim can't help but stare, subtly signaling that things will never truly be the same after this. One of the best montages as well as one of the best scenes of the entire show. Number 2, something stupid number 1. Ladies and gentlemen, we have made it to the episode that inspired the idea for this video in the first place. The cream of the crop of Breaking Bad Universe montages. This montage represents an 8-month time gap in the show as Kim and Jimmy grow their respective careers while slowly growing emotionally distant from each other. The way that the show splits the screen into 2 separate angles seemingly is a fun creative choice, only for that split to represent the growing rift between Kim and Jimmy later in the montage is brilliant. That shot where Jimmy pours the wine into Kim's glass past the black line in the middle of the screen really stuck with me. The song used for this montage is a cover of the song Something Stupid by Frank and Nancy Sinatra. An excellent choice for this episode. The female and male vocals for this song being separated into the left and right audio channels respectively to represent Kim and Jimmy is so subtle yet so good. The lyrics of the song are especially sad in retrospect, as the only time Kim and Jimmy say that they love each other was in Fun and Games, and we all know how that turned out. Waka waka! Also, the cover for this song is really good. Go give it a listen after this video is over. You'll thank me later. Unless you already have, in which case you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'd be stupid not to give this one a double S tier, which is why I did. And if you disagree with me, you can suck my dick. And now, it's finally time to reveal the number 1 entry on this list. My favorite montage in the Breaking Bad universe is... Number 1, Kafka-esque. Oh yeah! I've said it before and I'll say it again. The montage from this episode is peak Breaking Bad. Not just one of the best montages in the Breaking Bad universe, not just one of the best cold opens in the Breaking Bad universe, but perhaps one of the best scenes in the Breaking Bad universe. The transition from the seemingly innocent commercial for Los Pollos Hermanos to Walt and Jesse in the lab is enough to make a grown man cry. The music for this scene is literally perfect. Any other song used, and this scene just doesn't have quite the same ring to it. In the span of only 2 minutes, the montage expertly shows us the process behind Los Pollos Hermanos meth operation and how it's transported around the world without anybody noticing. The shot with Gus watching as the trucks drive by is one of his coolest moments in the entire franchise. Walt never even stood a chance fighting against Gus in his operation. Except when he did. The context of Better Call Saul and the struggles Gus faced making this whole operation come to life makes this scene 10 times better. While some of the previous montages in this list might be objectively better than this montage, this scene remains one of my favorites, which is why it's getting the top spot in this list. And that's gonna do it for this video. Like I mentioned at the beginning, I've had the idea for this video rattling around in my head for the better part of like 3 months, and I'm really glad I was finally able to make it come to fruition. If you like this video, then let me know in the comments below, and drop a like and perhaps even push that subscribe button if you feel inclined. If you have Twitter and use it often, feel free to follow me there too to hear some of my stupid thoughts, as well as for updates for future content. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.